So good evening everyone. We are at our second hour program in 15 hours programs of Python course. Okay. So in this honor, what we are going to see is interaction to data types. So what is data types if you consider in Python? So data types is broadly classified into 8 things. Okay. So the first one is integer. So what is an integer? We just refer integers as whole numbers. Examples are 3, 300, 200, even negative, right? So minus 3, minus 300, minus 200, also an integer. Okay. So whether it may be positive or negative, it doesn't matter. But it should be a whole number. Okay. So the very second thing is floating point. So what is mean by floating point? So a number which has decimal part is referred to as floating point. Okay, so examples are 2.3, 4.6, 100.1. Wait, what is 100.1? It's a whole number, right? No, see, we just have some decimal part over here, right? So it is referred to as float. Okay, so how will we determine float in a Python environment? We just use float, float. Okay, so the third thing is string. So what is string? So string is set of or sequence of characters, a name or a verb, anything may be. So I just use double quotes or single quotes. So that doesn't matter in Python. Okay, so I just have some examples. Hello, and then Sammy, and then 2000. Wait, 2000 is a whole number, right? So if we just give anything inside double quotes or single quotes, it is treated to be a string, not an integer or float. Okay, so not even this, I can just use my native language or any languages inside the quotes, it just take it as string. Okay, so these are the very basic things: integers, float points, and strings. So let me move on to list. What is list? So list is the order of sequence of object, whether it may be integer or float points or strings. I just can get collection of things also. So I have a float number, a string, and a integer. I just make it as list. So I use list to indicate that I go to assign a list value. Okay, so dictionary. So what is in by dictionary? So dictionary is nothing but a set of unordered keys to their value pairs. Suppose I just give you a dictionary, my key whose corresponding value is whose corresponding uh, orders value. I just, instead of mentioning everywhere value, I just can mention dictionary of my key so that I can bring my value there. Okay, so if I mention dictionary of name, there Frankie will be there. Okay, so the very next thing is tuples. What is tuples? Okay, so tuples and list are more even similar, but tuples are ordered immutable sequence of objects. So what is meant by immutable? So once we are just seeing of tuples, we'll just go on with that word. Okay. So in list, we'll be using square braces, and here we'll be using normal braces. Okay. So next we come to sets. So what is set? So set is just similar to list, but we have unique objects. In list, we can use 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. But in set, we just can use 1, 2, 3. We just don't have repeated ones. Okay. So the next one is booleans. So what is meant by booleans? So you might be having some condition. If the condition gets validated, you'll get an answer true. Else you'll just pop up with the value false. Right? So we'll move on to the first thing, variable assignment. Okay. So we just saw how to work with numbers. Right? But what do these number represents actually? Okay, so if at all I have a set of values, okay, so I just want, I just consider I am a tutor to just teaching some 60 guys, okay? So I just want to calculate in multiple things, in an average or something like that. So instead of remembering the number 60, I just can assign a variable like number of students in my class is equal to 60. So every time, instead of referring those values, I can just mention this variable so that the value will be get added. Okay, so I just got an example for you here. My dogs is equal to 2. I have a couple of dogs. Instead of remembering that value, I just write my dogs is equal to 2. So if I refer anywhere like my dogs, it just gets me a value 2. Right? So we have a certain set of rules for assigning a variable name. The first thing is we should not start a name with a number. A name like I just show you in the before slide, we can use my dogs. I cannot use 6 my dogs. Right? So that represents 6 times of my dog is equal to 2. So in order to avoid that confusion, we are not supposed to start a name with a number. Okay. So just we all know space is a special character in Python. So in between names we are not supposed to use space. Instead we can use underscore. See, I just you have my dogs, right? So instead of giving space, I just give my underscore dogs so that it will be easy for the end user to see that, to read that. Okay. The third thing is don't use some special character symbols such as commas, inverted quotes, double quotes, then question marks, everything. Okay. So these and all have some special operators in terms of Python. So it is recommended not to use these symbols in the names. Okay. And then if we move on to the next thing, which comes for rules for variable names. So we have another set of things. It's not a rule, it's just a suggestion. Okay. So it is considered like we have a best practice that we just follow the names is the lowercase. It is not a written rule, but it's according to the Python developers, they will be using the names in the lower cases, right? So and then we just avoid using variable names as list and str, because we just can find here list and str denotes some variable names called strings. Type of variable is whether it is a string or list, right? So avoid using these as variable names. Okay, so you just know Python use dynamic typing. So what is meant by dynamic typing? Python reads your program line by line, and if you just can use the things again and again, you can just rectify the code. Okay, so I'll just show you an example while we just go on with the Python environment. Okay, so you can obviously reassign the variable to different data. We can just assign a value and we can just reassign the same value with the same data. I'll just show you. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay? So these things we can't find in the other programming languages. Okay, so let me just show you. Wait. Yeah, well, we just go on to the environment. Like once this topic is done, we'll just move on to that. There I'll be explaining you everything. So if I write my dogs is equal to 2, I assign a variable my dogs is equal to 2 in Python, and I just write my dogs is equal to square braces indicates we are just using a list, right? So I just use two names. So my first dog is this, second dog is this. So I assign the value and also I assign the list to the same variable, right? So if we consider to be Python environment, it is fine, it is flexible. So if I just have two of my dogs, I just give the value to be 2 and I'll also use as list. So this is okay in terms of Python, but coming to other languages, it shows a error whether I want to keep this as 2 or I just keep it as list. Okay, so this just shows how flexible the Python is, right? So here I just have another thing. I just mentioned the type of this data type. Okay, so I just use int my dog is equal to 1. Okay? If I just use my dog is equal to Sammy again, so I just have mentioned my dog variable to be int, so it should be 1. So if I just mention this, it will pop up me an error. So this is what we call static typing. Once we doesn't want to load or we don't want to run our code. Okay. So once if we are doing like this, I'm mentioning int my dog is equal to 1. If I start typing my dog is equal to Sammy, it just pops me error. It will just correct you when you are doing your typing. Okay. Though that's property of Python, just we refer as static typing. Okay, so we move on to the pros and cons of dynamic typing. So it's very easy to work with because if you are just writing a code and if you get some error in the middle, it will just pop you out while you are working, while you are programming code. Instead, you just finish everything and you just run it. You just find your, if you find your code to be somewhere wrong in the first very beginning itself, it's waste time waste for you, it's a waste of effort from your side, right? You just want to rebuild that again, right? So it is like dynamic typing shows you where you just do the error, like it will point out while you are programming your code itself. Okay, so that's we have faster development time. Since we have a dynamic typing, you just can develop an entire set of codes in a better speed compared to other languages. Okay, so we just, if we have some pros, we just have cons of dynamic typing too, right? So if we consider the cons of dynamic typing, we just can get unexpected some data types error. So if I'll be using some uh, float, and if I just didn't mention anywhere there, I will be getting an int. Okay, so be aware of what type of data you are going to use, right? So we'll just do some exercise in variable assignment. Okay, let me move on to my Jupyter notebook. Let me create a new notebook then, right? So I just have my new notebook done, right? So the very first thing in Jupyter, what we are going to see is a simple operator function. Let me just start with addition. 2 plus 1. I can just move on to run, or else I can just press shift enter to get my output. Right? I can just use subtraction. So 2 minus 1 will fetch me the answer 1. Right? And then I can do multiplication. 2 and then star 2 will fetch me multiplication. So again we can do division. 3 forward slash referred to as division. Okay, so if I run that, I'll get 1.5. So here comes a new thing, which is floor division. Let me just write a command, floor division. Okay, so this is, I just wrote hash floor division, means if you use hash, the interpreter doesn't take this as a separate code. Okay, it's just like title of this node. Okay, so it doesn't get any value. I will just tell you in briefly when we just go to commands or something. Okay, so what is meant by floor division? What is the difference between floor division and normal division, right? So floor division is nothing but if I just divide 3 by 2, I'll just go with 1 times and remainder I'll be getting 1 again, right? So here if I would just want to get my quotient, right? So if I just divide 3 by 2, I'll be getting quotient 1 and remainder also 1, right? So to get my quotient, I'll be getting the value. I'll be doing this floor division. Okay. So see, I'll just do 3 divided by, let me go again. Okay, so if I give, see, I just gave 3 by 2, it's 1.5, which floor division gives me 3 by 2. So floor division means double forward slash. We should use double forward slash by 2, which I run, it gets me 1. Right? In the same way, if you want to get your remainder done, so I just divide 3 by 2, so my quotient is 1, I should get my remainder, I will get my remainder also 1, right? So what will be my remainder? Okay, so if I want to do that, I'll just use modulo function. So what is modulo function? To get my remainder, so if I divide 7 by 3, I'll be getting quotient 1, remainder 3, right? So I'll just do that. 7 divided by 4, my remainder will be 3, right? If I run this, I get 3. So I just get my remainder. Make sure you just remind this. So you people can ask, where can I use modulo function? I'll just give you a simple example. Okay, so you are running a code. Okay, you are just getting your input from your user and you are running a code. So in that case, you want to know whether the user gave me even number or odd number. So how will you check that? So you can divide it by 2, and if you get 0 as remainder, it is an even number, and if you get remainder as 1, then just you can say it is an odd number, right? So I'll just, if my user gave me 55, I just use modulo function to get my remainder, and it gives 1, right? So he entered an odd number. If he gives 56, modulo 2, 0, so it is an even number. So I just can proceed in that way, right? So this is called modulo function. So we'll just see the next thing. If I want to write 2 power 3, so what is 2 power 3? 2 power 3 in the sense 2 into 2 into 2, which is 8, right? So how we are supposed to write 2 power 8 in Python? So I'll just write 2 into 3. If I write like this, it will just do 2 into 3, right? So I will get a value 6. If I want to write 2 power 3, I just write 2 stars into 3. So I just get 2 double star and 3 means 2 to the power of 3. So I'll get 2 into 2 into 2, which is 8. Okay, so in the same manner, if we are doing square function, so if you are writing square root of 4 means you can also write that as 2 power 1 by 2, right? So we can just write 4 power 0.5. So I get answer 2, right? So I can just write cubic root of 9 or to cubic root of 27, and I get my value as 3, right? So I just write 27 power 1 divided by 3. So I get the value 3, right? So next thing is we will just move on with order of operation. So what is meant by order of operation? Suppose if I write a code like this, 2 plus 10 plus, sorry, 10 into 10 plus 3. Okay, so whether my code will run like 2 plus 10 into 10 plus 3? No, we do have a set of operational order. So what is that? it just go with higher order, which is multiplication. So it just 10 into 10, 100, then it will go for plus 2 plus 3. So 100 plus 2 plus 3 is 105. If I run that, it will get me 105. If I want to specify like first do this, then do this, and then multiply, I just want to mention them. How I will mention them? I'll just insert inside a bracket 2 plus 10 into 10 plus 3. So here whatever value inside the braces will be taken into the consideration first. So first what we'll be doing, 10 plus 2, it's 12, and 10 plus 3 is 13, then it gets multiplied. So what will be your answer? 12 into 13, it's 156, right? So I get my value as 156, right? So these are all are the special operations or special kind of operational things we'll be using in Python. So we just saw addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, power function, modulo function, right? So then we also just deal with float function also, right? So the very next thing is we'll just move on to variable assignment. So what is meant by variable assignment? I just mentioned, right, I'm tutoring to some 60 students. I just don't want to use that 60 everywhere. I just can be assign some variable to it, and I can just make use of it, right? So I just make some variable to be a is equal to 10. Okay, so I just mentioned a to be 10, and if I run that, yeah, my value, like my variable got a value 10. I assigned a value to the variable a as 10. If I print a, if I just ask what is my value of a, it prints me 10. Okay, so the very next step is I just go a plus a. If I want to add 10, I just, instead of saying 10 plus 10 or similar like that, I just write a plus a, which is it, in turns it just go to here, and I just say a plus a is 20, right? So we just saw it is dynamically like Python is dynamical typing language, right? I just change it here to be 5. I'm running it, you just see the difference. I'm just running it as a to be 5, and if I run this again, my value gets changes, right? So if I run it this again also, my value gets changes, right? So it is dynamically different. So other language it won't be like that. It will just run the entire code, it will check. There's no problem here, right? So the very next thing is, which is unique in Python, is reassignment. Okay, so now my value of a2 is to be 5. I just want to reassign the value. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to reassign the value of a to be a plus a. So with the variable name a, I'm just reassigning the same values, right? So if I reassign that, my a is to be 10 again. So my a before it was 5, when I just did a is equal to a 5, a plus a, which is 5 plus 5, 10. I can reassign the value of a again, right? So I just do some things extra. So we just found names, right? So I'll just use names. Let me type my underscore income is equal to 100. So let my income be 100. So what I'm doing, I have my tax rate underscore rate to be 0.1, which is 10 percentage, right? So I'm just saying, giving my total tax, my tax to be, my taxes to be, I'm just saying my underscore income into tax underscore rate. So here I just mentioned two variables, my income and tax rate. So my incomes I assigned a value of 100 and tax rate I just made 0.1. So I just gave another statement. My tax is equal to my income into tax rate. I just multiply these both. So obviously this variable has some variables, so it will get calculated. So if I run that, it just takes me, it just executes the program. If I just check what is the value of my underscore taxes, it's 100 into 0.1, which is 10.0, right? So this is what which we consider based on numbers or assigning a variables to a certain values. Okay, so let me move on to the next thing, strings. So what is mean by strings? We just saw, right? We have a set of characters. We just refer those as strings, right? So what is string? Strings are sequence of character using the syntax of either single quotes or double quotes. So it doesn't matter in Python if you use single quotes or double quotes. If you use that, it will just pop you the data type as string. Okay, so I can just write hello as in single string or double string, doesn't matter, right? So because strings are ordered sequence, it means we can use indexing or slicing to grab subsection of the string. Since I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements in my string, I can just index the individual letters or individual characters in a string, or I can slice this. What is meant by indexing? Okay, so for indexing I'm just giving you an example. So in your street you have 5 houses. So how will you index the houses? So you will be having separate numbers, right? So first house to be number 1, second house now to be number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, right? So if I want to refer the third house, you will be indexing the house as third house, right? So that is called indexing, naming or referring some characters in a string. Slicing in the strings, I just want to give my I just divide that 5 houses, like I just going to my sorry if those 5 houses, first 3 houses only have car. Okay, so if I want to mention in my code like which things are there only, which houses have only car, I can slice the entire string as from 1 to 3. That is called slicing. Okay, the indexing notation use square brackets after that string. Okay, so I'll just, once we are doing the code, I'll just tell you. So as I said, indexing allowed you to grab single character from the list. I just said you, right? In a row of 5 houses, I can just pick up one house, right? So these are the characters, right? As I said here, I just have HELLO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 letters, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just can index, instead of starting from 1, I just starting from 0. So this is the first element, so I have index 0, second element to be 1, third element to be 2, fourth to be 3, fifth to be 4. Okay, so I just can index this hello as I just can index with the number. So 0 means first element, 1 means second element, vice versa. Okay, so I can use reverse index also. So instead of going from front, I just can go from back also. If I just write -1, it just refer from reverse, it is first element, reverse front is second element, reverse third element, reverse fourth element. So obviously 0 will be first element. Okay, so slicing is a thing we can subsection a multiple characters. If I have hello, I can just slice only first 3 letters. So what is the basic syntax? It's like where I should start, where I should stop, how many steps. So if I just want to start with H and I want to stop with L, I just go with one step, or else I can just move on with, I just start with H and start with O, just go with 2 steps. So H will be taken, then L will be taken, then O will be taken. So I'll just tell you when how it is done. Okay, so this is called uh, slicing. Okay, so start is the numeric index of the slice start where the slice actually wants to start, and stop is the thing where I want to stop, and step is the jump. So if I give 1, it will go on each letter. If I give 2, it will skip 1 letter and it will be going. Okay, so we'll do some exercise in that. Okay, so slicing, right? So we'll just do with string. So I'll just, for a sake, I'll just write a single word string. I'll just write hello. I just gave inside a single quote. If I run that, I just get an output as string, right? I just can use entire phrase also. Okay, so I just give welcome to Alphite. Okay, if I run that, it's just give me a thing, right? Even we can use double quotes. I just said, right, 15 hours Python program. I can use double quotes, the same results pops me up, right? So here comes a new trick, right? So we just saw we can use single quotes and also double quotes, right? So I'm just using here single quotes and using I am fine. If I run that, oof, I'm getting error. So what is the error? So in build, I just started in my string here and I ended here my string here. But what about this thing? So here what I was supposed to do to limit this constraint, I can use double quotes. So I can write I am fine. Okay, if I run that, yeah, I'm getting that, right? So based on the limitations, we can use that. Okay, if I want to print some string, what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so basically if I just do, you just see, let me print hello world here, print hello world. Okay, I just gave my variable string here. It just gave me with again inside the double quotes. When I print the string, only the string gets filled. Okay, so this is the basic difference. Just we are saying, we are assigning the string. When we print a string, only that string will be printing out. Okay, so if I just want, let me show you, uh, let me copy it down, just print it here, welcome to, and then I do enter again another statement, hello, sorry, welcome to Alphite learnings. Okay, and then use again another line, Python. Okay, so again I'm just using a different name here. See, I'm just using backward slash n. So what does it mean? I'm just using backward slash n. What does it mean? And just I'm writing again hello world. Okay, so what does it mean, this one? Let me just run this code so that you can understand. So when I just print welcome to, it's printed welcome to, and I print Alphite learning, then again Alphite learning is print, and print Python, okay, printed. When I print slash n, I just get a void space. So To print a new line, an empty line, we'll be using backslash here. Okay. This is what the backslash n. If you have had some knowledge on C, C++, Java, you will be aware of backslash n, backslash t, and all, right. So don't worry if you don't have. While we proceed, I'll just let you know everything. Okay. So we just saw how to assign a string. We just printed a string. Let me just introduce how to count number of element in the string. Okay. Let me just say I will be using len, which means just find how many letters are there inside my string hello world. Okay, so if I run that, I just get 11, but I see I just have 5 letters here and then 5 letters here. Why it is 11? Because it considered the void space too. Okay, so as we mentioned, Python has that space in a Python have special value special operation to write, so it will just calculate that space also. So we have 11 letters. Okay, so we just saw how to uh, check number of elements or number of characters in a string, right? So we'll just move on to assigning a string. As we'll just assign variable to a string. Okay, so what I'll be doing, I'll just do yes to be hello world again. Okay, so yes to be hello world, and I just run my program. Okay, it's got updated. What is yes? If I write yes, so it's hello world. So if I print yes, it will print hello world. Okay, I'm just going to index the elements in the string. Okay, so as we saw, the first element is h, second is e, right? So if I want to index first element, I'm just supposed to write the variable name yes, and in square braces, if I write 0, first element will be coming, right? So first element is h. So if I want to see ninth element, I just use square braces 9. So I will write enter. So ninth element is, so we have 11 in total, so ninth element is n. So 9 means it's 10th element. So 0 means first element and 9 means 10th element is L. Okay. So in the same way I can just move from backward, from last, what is my first letter? So yes minus 1. Okay, if I run that, so from last, it's my first letter is D, right? This is what we call indexing. Okay, so we just saw another thing, right? Slicing. So what I'm supposed to slice? Okay, so if I have my string to be hello world. If I want to write from second letter onwards, ignoring the first letter, how will you slice that? I'll just take a knife, slice hatch. Okay, so I just what I'm doing, see, yes, and I'm opening square braces again, and just writing from second element. Second element means how we should index 1, right? So from one element, second element onwards, just print me. Okay, just slice me. If I run that, I'll eliminate my first letter, and my from second element is prints me out. Okay, in the same way, if I can slice from fourth element, okay, what do we do if we slice see, I just said you, right? We just saw here, right? Start, stop, and step, right? So let me show that. Let me start with a variable. Let me start with first element, and then sorry, let me go with 11th element and step to be 2. If I run that, so it just see it started with first element, my step is 2, so it just skipped one element and printed L, and then it just skipped one element and printed O, and then it's skipped one element and printed W, right? So it just went with a step size of 2. Okay, I can just use this, or else I can just go with a single, like I can do the same function like yes double dots 2. Even this fetch me the same, right? So just I just, instead of saying from first element to last element, I can just say print my string with going with 2 steps. Okay, I can also print my string backward too. So if I have hello world, if I just want to print the entire string to be in a mirrored form, what I'm supposed to do, I just yes my string variable, and then do square braces -1. Okay, so if I use -1, so this C HELLOWORLD, right? So it gets reversed, it gets mirrored, right? We have did everything, right? We just made slicing, everything, right? But if I just print my string variable now, it gets unchanged. So this is called, see, it has strings have some certain property. If you just run a code using this, it will just execute that code only, but it doesn't disturb the string variable. Okay, see, I'll just say you another example. I'll just try to change the first letter of my string to be X. I have H, right? So I'll just try to change into X. I'll just show you what error I'm getting. So yes, square brackets of 0, which means it's to be first element, right? So it's equal to, and just changing into X instead of H. If I change that, see, I'm getting an error. So what is that error? A string object does not support item assignment. What is meant by that? So in this, we can just directly, we can't change anything like elements, we can't change it in a string. Instead, I can add something to my string. Okay, let me just show you how to add. So I just had my string to be hello world. I just want to say hello world to Alphite learning. So what I'm supposed to do, I just want to add to my string yes plus single quotes to Alphite learnings. Okay, to Alphite learnings. If I run that, so before my string was hello world to Alphite, now it's going to add it to Alphite learning. Okay, so it just concatenated, so it just built at my statement. So if I just do this again, yes, okay, hello world, it's hello world. What is this, right? So see, if it just I just what to say, people might ask why it is hello world again. So I just named my string to be yes. For this operation alone, I just made this command. So when I just printed yes again, only hello world is there. So how to add permanently? So just before we just saw reassigning as a variable, right? So I can again reassign, right? Reassign, like s is equal to, I can just copy this, control C, I will control P, okay, and then I will run that. Okay, so what is meant by my yes now? Hello world to alpha. I just reassign my value, right? So apart from this, I can just duplicate my string, so that I just, if I write yes into 4, if I run that, see, hello world to Alphite learnings, hello world to Alphite learnings, hello world to Alphite learnings. It just printed me, just gave me as 4 things, right? So we can multiply our string to how many times you want, right? See, I just have my string. Okay, this is point. I have my string. What is my string now? Hello world to alphabet learning. I have a combination of lowercase and uppercase. If I want to convert everything into uppercase, it's just simple. Just type my variable name and then give upper. It's print me everything in a uppercase. In the same way, if I just write s dot lower, it prints me everything in lowercase. Hello world to alphabet learning. So we have spaces, right? Space here, space here, space here, space here, right? So if I want to split a string by a blank space, okay, so what I'm saying, s dot split. So s is my variable, so I'm splitting again. If I split it, so my entire string is splitted into variable into some certain list based on the void spaces. Okay, so if I just use some default split dot, yeah, without mentioning anything, it just split based on the blank spaces. If I just write yes, my variable name split, and then if I use w and if I run, see, I don't have any w, small w here, so it just directly pinged me. So I just write yes dot split capital W. So in my string, before this letter, everything got splitted into a single thing, and after this, everything got splitted into what do you say, another variable. Okay, so this is what we can split a string into multiple lists. Okay, so the very next thing is we can just format the string, right? So I'll just write on more things. See, I'll just write insert another string with curly brackets. Okay. Yeah, I'll be using flower braces. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I just gave a statement in a insert another string with curly brackets. I just use that curly braces. Okay. So I just write dot format it as the inserted string. Okay, if I run that, you just see what happens. I just have a string before, right? So when I say that, I just use flower braces and I just say that format the flower brace as inserted string. So what is my thing? So I just printed my entire statement. When it comes to flower, it just refer to this and it prints the value of here. Okay, so in simple terms I can just say again, what is your age, like that I can ask to my input user. So I can just use flower bases. Okay, I just use my flower bases. So when I say users and then I just format it from the input they gave, which is 20. If I run that, so my what is your age, it's 20. Okay, so this is all about printing or formatting things, right? Okay, so we'll just move on to the list. Okay, so we'll just move on to the print formatting, and then we'll just end up today's session. Yeah, print formatting with strings. So we just saw, right? Yeah. So often you will want to inject a variable into string for printing, like my name is equal to Joe's. print hello my name. So actually see, I just get my user like what is a name, he just give me user, so I just want to print hello and then plus this variable, so I can use like this hello and then plus my name. So we have n number of ways we can add a strings or inject a strings or a command concatenate a string. Okay, so this is what we call string interpolation. So we just saw dot format, right? So we can give the entire thing and we can use flower braces and then dot format what you want to instead. Okay, or else you can use f strings. Okay, so we'll see, we just saw that, right? So let me do some exercise so that we'll finish off today's class. Okay. Okay, so we just saw, let me print it somewhere. Okay, let me print. Okay, print double quotes, mm, I am from percentage India. Okay, so what is this percentage represents? I just close my string here. Okay, and then what is this percentage refers? I am let's writing my percentage to be south. Okay, so if I run that, it just gave me an error. So what is this error actually about? So we just gave what is that percentage, right? Here what is that percentage we just gave, but we just didn't mention what percentage is a string or an what to say, it is an integer or like that, we didn't mention that. So it's saying like invalid syntax. So what is syntax is all about? So it's asking like that. So I just can copy this, paste it here, control V, and just I say I'm going to print as thing, right? South. Okay, so check now. Even now I just get an error. So what is what I'm just getting error okay again. So I just mentioned, okay, I am from percentage, yeah, I just use I am from percentage yes India, and I just use India, I just what to say, I just refer that percentage to. So what is the error again? So in C or C++ or whatever languages you learn, you'll be using commas here, right? So if you come in terms of Python, you just use, okay, what you'll be using here? What you'll be using here? If I run that, see, it's just see what if I run here. You are not supposed to refer any commas or full stops or anything, right? Semicolons or nothing like that. It's just directly, it's just user friendly, so you can directly say what is that percentage to be. Okay, so I am from percentage yes, where I'm going to insert a string India, so percentage is south. Okay, I can just use another thing. Okay. I just say print uh, I am traveling from percentage yes to percentage, sorry, percentage yes. Okay, so what is that percentage yes and percentage yes? So I just want to fill two strings here, right? So I just in C or C++ you want to define that variable and you was like you want to do set of things, like you want to be define that, you want to name that individually, right? So here I can just randomly use, I can just say percentage yes, I say first to be Chennai. Okay, and the second to be Mumbai. Okay, so if I run that, so it gives me I'm traveling from Chennai to Mumbai. So whichever value I give first, this see, we just saw it is a dynamic typing, it is an interpreter language, right? So it is just start to read here, it starts printing. I am traveling from percentages, so it's just refer to the value Chennai, and then two, it's just refer this, and then it got already syntax, right? So it just move on to the next value Mumbai. Okay, so I can write it as again, and then sorry, and then two percentage, yes. So again I have another list, Hyderabad. Okay, so if I run that, so I'm traveling from Chennai to Mumbai and then to Hyderabad. Okay, so this is what we just saw about numbers and strings. We just saw strings, how to index strings, what is strings actually, and then how to count number of strings, indexing, slicing strings, and then print formatting, how to insert a strings, concatenate strings, right? So we just saw dot format and then f strings, right? So we'll just move on with the next day. Tomorrow's class, we'll just move on with the rest of the things. We'll just start with list, what is list, and then sets, everything, right? So we'll just dedicate this. What is it? I'll just give you 10 more minutes so that we can just discuss if we have any doubts. Okay, I'll enable the chat box. You can just ask me the doubts if you have any. Okay, so I'll wait for 10 more minutes. If people have any doubt, you can just ask me. Once if you can't ask, like if you didn't get any chance, you can just I just gave you a forum, right? You can just navigate to the forum. You can just type your query. I'll be answering that. Okay, okay guys, let me close my, let me close my sharing screen share.